They're actually claiming they use helium-deuterium-3 right here, not boron-11. That's the other generation 3 fuel source. And there it is. Magnetic field, reverse field configuration of a plasmoid. They know. No question. 2 FRC plasmoids are accelerated to vortices. So basically, they're shooting smoke rings of plasma at each other. Energy is captured by directed energy conversion that uses the expansion of the plasma to induce currents in the magnetic compression. Wow. Peter Thiel knows. Peter Thiel knows. No question, he knows.
Fusion efforts. The only one that comes close, which actually is not a privately funded, it's a university-funded effort, and partially government-funded, is PALS. So we're treading on the heels in this measure of much, much larger projects like JET and W7X. Perhaps an easier way to look at the same data is the pressure time chart. Of course, pressure is just the product of density and temperature. If we look in the other dimension, which is how much energy out for energy in, then we fared even better. Then we're number 2 in the world, right behind JET. And JET is ahead by only about a factor of 50%. Well,
so there's different ways they can look at this. I'm probably going to skip over parts of this because they basically say if you change the numbers around, say, okay, well, who's using the least amount of energy in? Because it's not about how much energy producing, it's about total efficiency, right? It's about total efficiency. It would not surprise me to find out that a lot of these companies, they know what the answer is, but they don't know how to produce it right. Because it's secret. It's secret. But Peter Thiel is CIA, or he's with the CIA. He's affiliated with the CIA. He's taken money from the CIA. So he would know that, oh, okay, yes, you should go look in. Someone tells him inertial electrostatic confined fusion works. Do it. And so he invests in it because he knows it works. He just doesn't know potentially exactly the secret sauce. And I agree. I don't think the configuration that they were publicly posting is going to be the secret how they make it work. Because we know, we're watching. The plasma orbs are how they do it. So Lerner explains a few different companies here.
Efficiency. We're number 1 right now. So obviously,
look at how much money they get. This is, I think, in millions of dollars or something like this. Yeah, this is in millions. Look how much ITER is eating. Look at how good ITER. This is actually the public inertial electrostatic fusion that uses lasers. How has this not produced anything? How have we been putting $20 billion into that and not gotten anything out of it? That should be the question everybody's asking. The question people should be asking me is, Ashton, wait, you're saying they hid inertial electrostatic confined fusion as part of fusion bombs, but we have ITER. It's one of the biggest inertial electrostatic fusion reactors. How do you reconcile this? Well, what fuel are they using? How powerful are their lasers? I think you're going to find out right away. Even though they're technically inertial electrostatic fusion, it is completely different than what Eric Lerner is doing and what the other guys are doing with plasmoids. So at the end of the day, where exactly is this $20 billion going? It's not solving fusion, that's for sure. $20 billion stolen on a project they knew was never going to be successful. They knew before they even started that there was no chance ITER was ever going to be successful. They knew it because they had already solved fusion before they even began this project. That project never produced anything. Wow. Look at how much money Focus Fusion has gotten by comparison. $5 million for Focus Fusion. Where's Helion Fusion on here? I don't even see them listed. Tri-Alpha Energy, $500 million to Tri-Alpha Energy. That's the other one I've got my eye on. Tri-Alpha Energy, $500 million. That's a lot of investment. You don't invest $500 million in something unless you have either government connections or a lot of excess money on your hand.
Now, again, obviously, this is a snapshot of where the race is now. It doesn't mean we're going to win the race. we might be the hare and somebody else might be the turtle. And it was the turtle who won. But this is how it stands
temperature
now.
is too low.
So before we break again for questions, I basically want to pose a question. If this is basically, and I think it is, a fairly objective measure of where the race for fusion stands now, how does such a small effort as ours, we've had $5 million in funding over the last 8 years, the full-time staff of this effort is in this room, some of the part-time staff as well. How we do better by certain objective measures than projects that have hundreds or 1,000 times more resources and staff? I don't think the answer is we're much smarter than they are. I think the answer is we've chosen an easier route. And the key to understanding that is how we're trying to control the plasma. Because to get fusion, you have to be able to control the plasma in some way.
Wait for it. What do you guys think the answer is? I want to know what you guys think. What do you think he's about to say right here? What do you think he's going to say is the secret to how to control the plasma? I wish Bob Greenyer was in the chat right now, because I know he would know the answer. I know he would know the answer. I think I've watched this before, so I think I know the answer here. You know what? I'm actually not sure I even watched it. So what I'm going to say is the answer is nature. The answer is look at how nature is doing it. Copy nature. How does nature do anything? Geometry. Geometry is how nature does everything. Everything is fractal. Everything is fractal. So let's see what he says.
And basically, the dominant approach of almost all the other efforts in fusion is to get the plasma to sit still, to behave. Good dog. And the problem is plasma does not want to sit still because of the pinch effect. A pinch effect is what we're using, but you can't avoid the pinch effect when you have plasmas. It means the plasma wants to form currents that go in the same direction. They attract, they repel the currents going in the other direction. They form filaments. You basically get a can of worms, almost, if you can imagine the filaments as worms. What we're trying to do is to use the instabilities, to say, okay, the plasma wants to form these instabilities, so we will use the filamentation to compress the plasma. And in doing that, we're basically imitating nature. Nature doesn't produce tokamines, but nature does produce filaments. It does produce plasmoids. It produces them at all sorts of scales. We observe them in solar flares. We observe them in what are called Herbig Haro objects, which are the beams coming out of stars that are in the process of formation. We observe them in quasars. We have even observed them in the formation of our own spiral galaxies.
Let's effing go, chat. We see beams coming off of plasmoids everywhere. We see it in neutron stars. We see it on black holes. We see these beams, these jets being shot out. He says the answer is don't try to control nature. Copy nature. Do what nature is doing. Do what nature is doing. This is what they figured out. They realized, okay, we've got this kink instability that's shooting a jet of proton and electrons out of either end. What do we do with it? Don't try to control it. Use it as propulsion. It's free propulsion. It's free real estate, chat. You got electron beam shooting out of your thing, out of your orb. Is this a bad thing? No. It's free real estate. Use it. Use it as a positive.